Hello, I'm Christy with Ergobaby. We're going to talk to you about some baby carriers today and answer any questions you have about baby carrying and Ergobaby products. So, without further ado, I am going to introduce you to my favorite carrier for the newborn wearing, which is our Stretchy Wrap. So let me grab that. The first thing I'll point out about our Stretchy Wrap is that it has a handy little pocket that's actually sewn into the end of it, so you don't lose it. So, there we go. So, here we go. All right, I had a question about hip issues. So it's one thing we hear a lot about in mom groups is how different carriers are going to affect babies' hips. FYI, let me turn this just a little bit. There we go. If your baby is predisposed to having hip dysplasia or any hip issues, you are going to know that. Your primary care practitioner will have already screened for it. Usually it's hereditary, so it's not something that you need to worry about too much as a parent. And really, ideally, as long as baby is being supported in an ergonomic way, it's not anything that you should worry about anyway. So that's my little pro tip on hip issues. I'm going to show you the Stretchy Wrap. The first thing you're going to do on the Stretchy Wrap is to find this middle marker on other brands, because there's other Stretchy Wraps out there, just pointing out there. They'll all have some sort of middle marker, whether it's a stamp or a tag or something like that. And I agree. I think a baby carrier is one of the top 10, I would say top 5 essential things on the market for babies. So I'm going to roll this up. I promise it's not as intimidating as it feels when you're a new parent looking at this big piece of fabric. We're going to break it down into 3 easy steps. The first step is going to be to pull it behind our back, and then we're going to cross it. So I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing. Is you can do it however you want. I just like to take one at a time and cross it up over my shoulder. You can see me there. And then I'm going to cross this other one up over my shoulder. Now, if you have a printed wrap, it's a good indication if you flipped, because you can see the different. But if you have a full colored wrap, which is, we also have some of those, is what we're going to do. So this is step 1, is crossing across our back. That's it. Super easy. You can even practice this while you're pregnant. You don't need to wait till baby comes. You can do these steps. And in fact, this might give you a little more belly support too. So the one thing we're going to do before we go to step 2 is we're going to do what I call washing the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guide this back and forth as if I'm scrubbing my back. And what that does is that is actually, and I'm going to do the other side here, is it actually is showing me, showing you here how it spreads those pieces of back across your back, which is going to be more supportive for you. But it also shows you if you've maybe flipped the side, flipped it over while you're doing it. So next step, we're going to drop it through, and then we're going to cross it on our front. Now, if you're wondering where you need to cross it on your front, what you're going to do is grab your baby. And if you don't have a baby, you can still practice. So this is my plastic baby. And I know that I want them to be close enough to kiss. I don't want them way up in my face. I don't want them down here. I want them to be close enough to kiss. And the reason we say that is so we can monitor their airway. That means their nose and their mouth. So I know I want their butt to be about here. So that's where I'm going to cross it. So crossing my carrier, and I'm going to bring it to the back. If you have extra, you can certainly bring it to the front and tie it. But my pro tip, at least for new parents, is to keep it on the back or on the side. And the reason for this is that you have a lot of stuff going on up front here. Let's see if I can move this down just a tad. All right, you have a lot of stuff going on in the front, and so tying in the back just keeps that knot out of the way for you. All right, so now that was step 2. Cross the front, cross the back. 2 steps. Step 3, putting baby in. That's it. So I'm going to figure out which one is on the inside, which is this one, and then I'm going to put baby on the opposite shoulder. And the reason I do this is that it just makes it easier for me to guide baby into the carrier. And you can see a lot of people will want to spread this to start, and we're going to not spread it until we get baby in. And the reason for that is then there's not a lot of fabric to try to get baby's feet or body through. So I'm going to put my hand through the bottom. I'm going to guide baby's foot into the carrier, and then I'm going to do the other side here. So doing this here, you can see how this is making an X on baby's butt. That's what's going to be holding baby into the wrap. And we're going to really want, I'm going to show you before I spread it, is you really are going to have the weight on baby's butt spread across. And the feet can be in or out. If baby is really newborn and wants their legs to be in, they can be snuggled up in here. It's harder to demonstrate with a doll, but you can kind of they can be okay with that, but we still want all of that weight to be on the butt, and we want the feet away from that. We don't want any weight on the feet. So now that I have baby here, I know they're close enough to kiss, I'm going to take this inside piece, which is this one, and I'm going to spread this to the nape of baby's neck, and then the width of their butt to their knees. And by doing that, do you see how when I did that, I kind of scooped their butt? And we'll do that again just to make sure everything is where we want it to be. So we're going to take this outside piece here. And if you notice that my baby here is really cuddled in here, we want to make sure we can see their face and neck. So after we get this third panel up, I'll show you some little adjustments that will make all the difference. So stretchy wraps, because they're stretchy, we always want to have 3 passes on baby to help support them. So this third one is just going to go up. You can have it down over their feet. You can have their feet out. It's really going to be a preference to you. I'm going to pull this up here just so you can see what's going on. I see sometimes where babies will be put in here and they'll be like dangly legs. There's no harm in this, but to make it more ergonomic for baby and more ergonomic for you and possibly more comfortable. But babies are really good communicators. If they're uncomfortable, is that we're going to put our hands at the top of baby's diaper inside, and we're going to scoop and kind of push their butt into a nice seated position. We're going to rotate those hips. So I'm going to rotate those hips into that nice seat. Make sure this is pulled snug. So see, we've got both pieces of this panel pulled like this. And then you can also, what you can do is you can kind of push up on the bottom of baby's feet, and that will help guide their feet. We call it an M sometimes, or a froggy position. But what it really means is that their butt is slightly lower than their knees in the carrier. So then we can pull that down and we've got baby in. So if you've got a little one that likes to be snuggled up on the side here, what I would do is I would either pull this, and you can also spread these like this for both sides. You don't have to do it on just one. It just kind of immobilize your arm a little bit. So if you need to, do something, you can always pull it and pull it back, but it just spreads. Make sure there's no pressure points on your shoulders or your neck or on your back. But if baby's in the way, we can also cap the shoulder, and we can do that in 2 ways. You can pull it just over the top like this, or we can go underneath, and we're actually gonna flip the top down so we can flip it. And either way, that keeps it out of baby's face. We can still see their nose, their mouth. And if you feel like baby's too loose, then the next time just do it a little bit tighter. We really, when we're putting it on, think about how you want a snug t-shirt to feel. If you have it, I think the inclination is people want it to be loose. They don't want it to be too tight, but it's a stretchy wrap. So really you want it to feel like a really snug t-shirt. So I think you'll be okay. It's not going to be too tight. And if you feel like it's too tight, then you can just loosen it up a little bit too. They're not as scary. I really I want to emphasize that, because as a new mom, I got a stretchy wrap from a friend, and I looked at that and I was like, I will never touch that. And now as a 3-time mom, it is one of my favorite carriers. So if baby falls asleep, you need a little extra support. You can also put that over the back of baby's head, help support them. So then the nice thing about the stretchy wrap, especially as we're home with baby or out running errands to the doctor, is that you can pre-tie this at home. So you can put this on, have baby in and out of the car seat, or say baby falls asleep at home and you're doing dishes or laundry or doing something like super exciting and fun. I don't know what that is for you, but you can pre-tie this. So when you're ready to hold baby and put baby on, all you have to do is slip them in and out. And so with that, we'll take this third piece down, and we're popping baby out. And see, we're just leaving it on, and it's ready for the next time baby wants to go up, and we can put them right back in. The weight limit on the wrap is 25 pounds. So that will get you to be like 12, 18 months. I'll be honest and say, I really love the wraps for the first 4, 5, 6 months. And then at that point, I would go into one of our other carriers just for a little bit more support. So if you do have one of our wraps and you ever have questions about weight limits or how to wash it, they're all printed right here. And I just think that's worth pointing out because it's right there. We're always happy to help you too. You can email customer care at support@ergobaby.com. We also have a Facebook group called Ergobaby Love Carries On, and I'll drop those links in the chat as well. And so, you know, there's lots of places to get help if you need extra help with the wrap. The name of the wrap is the Aura Wrap, and let's see. I mean, just one of these is good. And the nice thing about the wraps too is it's kind of a one size fits all. So whether you're a pretty, like I'm pretty short, I'm 5'3", my husband's 6'1". If it's both, we don't have to adjust it between each other because it's, you know, you're tying it onto your own body. So machine washable, dryable, it's super easy to use. And then we also, so then like I said at the beginning, that's nice, convenient. You can fold it. I just shove it in here. There we go. And it's in the thing. So our discount code for today is Prego30, and you can use that for 30% off anything on our website. So let me drop that here for you. Discount code. Where's my note? Sorry. Prego 30. And that's 30% off our website. And then wraps, baby carriers, diaper bags, breastfeeding pillows, swaddlers. We have amazing swaddlers. The one there, I don't have one actually, which is really sad. It didn't arrive in time. It's supposed to arrive now, Monday. Thank you, UPS. But our swaddlers are really great because it has little bat wings that you put their arms in, and it Velcros them to the body, but the leg part can be pulled on and off without undoing the arms. So baby can still stay swaddled for diaper changes and they don't wake up. So I wish I could show that to you, but they're amazing. Take a look at our website while you're on there because the swaddlers are hands down my favorite. I gift them to every pregnant parent that I know. So, so for as far as twin wearing goes, some people will wear twins in a stretchy wrap when they're newborns, but ideally each baby, you're gonna wanna have a separate carrier. We don't have a carrier that currently can fit 2 babies, but as they get bigger, there are definitely ways to wear them. You can wear one on front and one on back, but there's gonna be a lot of accommodations that need to happen before you're ready to put a baby on back. So with that being said, we'll go to the Omni, which faces out. It faces in. You can do a hip carry and a back carry. And they come in 2 different styles. We have what we call the Cool Air Mesh, which is, we'll show this one. This is the Cool Air Mesh. And so you can see it's got like some more of a synthetic, it's breathable. People who live in more humid climates really seem to like it. It keeps both them and baby cool. And then we have the canvas. And the nice thing about the Omni is that it does not require an infant insert. It can be worn from birth, which is, we'll say 7 pounds is the minimum, to 45 pounds. And for reference, if you don't have bigger kids at home, my 6-year-old is like 50 pounds. So I would definitely, you know, it goes well up until you're probably not going to baby wear anymore. The Omni allows, like I said, allows you to face out, face in, hip carry, and back carry. So when you first get it new out of box, it's going to be on this new, what we call the newborn setting. And this is just how it's going to switch here. And if you're not sure where your baby should be, we also have this handy little diagram on the carrier that tells you the approximate height and weight your baby should be in order to size up on this waistband. So we're going to put this on. They're all machine washable. All of our carriers are meant to be worn. We understand your parents, you're wearing a baby, they're going to spit up on it and poop on it. And so they definitely can all be washed. My pro tip for washing is just make sure all the buckles are buckled. So that way it protects them from being clinking around. I try to air dry my carriers as much as I can, but if you really need it to be drier faster, you can put it on a low heat setting for like 20, 30 minutes, but then I would dry it the rest of the way if possible. So, so no infant insert on this. We have this lower back support. Actually, it's really nice. It's a good counter pressure. I like it when I don't have a baby in it. Like it feels really nice, just like this. So I have it buckled on. Then what I always want to do is I want to prepare the carrier before I put it in. So I'm going to loosen these straps. And now I'm ready to put baby in. Oh, actually, let's see. Right here, when you first get it, this might be up or down, but you can move this to where you want it to be. And ideally, you're going to want it to be about like your shoulder blades. And we want it to look like an H on your back. So what we mean by that is we want the shoulder straps and then this cross strap to look like an H. It can be a slightly different, but one thing I see is that people will either have the shoulder straps like way too loose or way too tight. And it's really going to pull the weight differently and support baby differently on your back. And so ideally an H or close to it is going to make the carrier the most ergonomic for you. Because that's one thing that we say a lot is that we say ergonomic, and people think that it means for baby, which it does, but it also means we want it to be ergonomic for you as the wearer and be comfortable. So I'm going to get my plastic baby. Now I'm going to put baby here on my body. If you have a newborn, we definitely, again, we want them to be close enough to kiss. So in that way, ideally when they're, 4, 5, 6 months, you're going to wear it a little bit lower. You're going to wear it at the top of your hips, just below your natural waist. But with a newborn, you may find that you really need to bring that waist, and that's okay. So what I'm showing you here is if I want my baby to be close enough to kiss, I may have to move that waistband just a little bit taller on my body for those first newborn months, and that's okay too. So we're going to roll this up to the nape of baby's neck. I'm going to put my straps on. And the reason I keep my straps loose to start is that I can hold the weight of baby in it, but it's going to give me the flexibility to reach this chest clip just at the nape of my neck. I'm not trying to reach around to get it. So once I do that, I'm going to feed this slack of the strap over. One mistake I see a lot of people make when they're tightening the carriers, they get baby in, and then they do this. And if you look from the side, see what that's doing? It's putting a lot of pressure on baby's back and on their spine, but my straps are still really loose. So to prevent this, what we can do is, does it say video out? So you have audio, but no video. Let's see here. If you can still hear me, let me just jump out and jump back in and see if that will fix the problem. Give me 1 second here. Me now? Let's see. All right, can you see me now, my back? I don't know what happened here. Let me know if you can see me, and then we can go back. You can hear me still. Can you see me? All right, perfect. Sorry about that. All right, so what we'll go back to is I see a lot of parents going like this. And so we really want to make sure that baby's nice and comfortable in the carrier, but we don't want to put all this pressure here because it's not doing anything for baby on their butt or their neck, and it's not doing anything for us either. So let's loosen this back up. And what we're going to do is we're going to thread. I always start at the panel, and I'll start on one side. We're going to thread that down. We're going to pull it down and around. Show attaching the back strap. Sure, we can go back to the back strap. Give me 1 second here. So the reason I keep my straps loose is so I can hold baby's weight, and I can reach and hit this back strap here, right behind my neck. And then when I lower it, it's going to lower the back strap to where I want it to be. Adjusted the straps. So that answers that. And then we're going to, around, and you can hold this in your arm if you want. If you can't, okay? And thread around. And by doing that, you can see that baby's back is still nice if it was a real baby and not this doll. And I'm not putting all that pressure on the lower back. And then my straps, I want them to be, they're not going to move. They're not too tight. Let's see. Probably move that chest clip up just a tiny bit, but it's just going to be a matter of finding your comfortable spot. Sometimes it's nice when you first put the carrier on to have someone help you adjust that chest strap where you want it to be on your body, and then you can just leave it on the carrier where you want it to be. So if you have someone that you share the carrier with and they move this, what I like to do is I take a fabric pen and I just put a little line on the webbing, so that way if someone moves it and then I want it to change somewhere else, I can move it back to my setting. But sometimes it really is a matter of just finding that really good sweet spot, and it might take a couple tries to find it, and that's okay. So again, to reach the chest clip, you're going to keep your straps loose when you put baby in. You're going to hold the weight. You're going to clip it behind your neck, because then when you adjust it, it's going to move that chest strap down into the position that you want it, that you might not be able to reach where it's clipped. So pro tip, if you have a hard time reaching up here, whether you have arthritis or some other just flexibility of T-Rex arms, my husband has the worst, like he can't reach anything. The other thing you can do is you can pre-clip this. Now I'll show you. This is called the t-shirt method. I have a question about what age and weight can you put them on your back? So it's going to be very different. And I'm sure you hear this as new parents, that every baby is different, but it really is true. So there's some developmental milestones that we want to look for. And this is for babies that are developing at a typical rate. And that means like they're not born premature or something that they're going to be slightly smaller compared to their age group. So 6 months and seated unassisted is a very good rule of thumb for typically developing babies. And the reason we say that is we want them to have some really good core, neck, back control when they're in the carrier. We don't want them to slump when they're on your back because you can't monitor them as easily back there. And that's the same as with size. We want them to be like a typical size where they're going to be in the biggest setting of the carrier on the waistband when we move that Velcro. And about before 6 months, they're probably not going to fit that setting. So we want them to be big enough to be able to support themselves and be able to fit the carrier properly before we put them on our back. So I'm going to show you a quick tip, what we call the t-shirt method. And what you're going to do is you're going to clip the chest clip first. Okay, see? And is there a way that once we have our babies? So they're asked at their support. We have our Ergobaby Facebook group. You can post questions and pictures in there. I run the group. I'm always happy to help and give you personal fit checks. Otherwise, if you just are like, I need hands-on help, you can email our customer care, which there's a link on our website to do that, or it's support@ergobaby.com. And we can actually do a live fit check with you virtually that you can sign up with. So you can just write and ask, and we're always happy to help. So now that I have my straps done, I'm going to grab my baby, put them where I want them to be, roll the panel up the back to the nape of their neck. And then since this is already clipped, we want to keep one hand on baby at all times. I'm just going to hold this up so you can see what I'm doing. So what I usually do is I put this arm through so that way I'm ready to go. And then I will hold baby, put this arm through, and you can put it over your head like a t-shirt. And then you'll adjust those straps the same way we did by threading it around. So that's another method for getting that chest clip if you have limited mobility. So then to take it off, we're going to loosen that. Actually, I'll loosen this one just a little bit more. And then we're going to pull it off, hand on baby, and take it off. So that's another great way to reach the chest clip. It's called the t-shirt method. And that's just pre-clipping that where you want it to be. And then I'm going to take this guy off. Here we go. And the next carrier I want to show you is the Embrace. The Embrace is a really great, if you think you want something that's kind of snuggly like a wrap, but the wrap feels too intimidating, the Embrace is a really great middle of the line carrier. It is like a buckle carrier, but it's got a little bit of stretch like a wrap. So it also starts at 7 pounds to 25 pounds. So that's going to be 12 to 18 months. And then you can move on to a bigger carrier. Some people want a one and done carrier. And in that case, like the Omni is a great option. The Adapt is a great option. They both start at 7 pounds without the use of an infant insert. The 360 all positions and the original are great options, but they do need the infant insert for the first 4 to 6 months. So the legs are coming out here in the carrier. So if you can see, the way our carriers are designed is what we call this bucket seat. You see how this is nice and curved here? And so that allows baby's butt to sit back into the carrier and sit as if they're seated in a chair, which is a really great design. So let's go on to the Embrace. So the Embrace is going to be, you can see it's a lot thinner, a lot smaller. There's a lot less padding, which makes it less supportive. So that's why it's not ideal well into toddlerhood, but it's really great for that first year of wearing. And again, I always point out our handy guidelines because it seems like we always get questions about where we should put baby what set. So there's 2 settings. There's the newborn setting and the baby setting. And if you're not sure, you can look, and if this isn't helpful, post in our Facebook group, email us at customer care. So for the newborn setting, you're going to roll the waistband twice towards you. If you're not sure if you're doing it right, again, waistband shows you where to go. So I'm going to put it in the newborn setting for you. So we're rolling it twice. And what we call this is what it's called is Apron Style. So unlike the other carriers, which are going to go on, so like this, we want the Velcro on us. So we're putting it here, and then we're rolling the panel up. It's going to feel like it's upside down, but it's because of the way the carrier is designed. So I'm going to put this on. You do not need an infant insert with the Omni 360 or the Adapt carriers because of the adjustable waistband. The 360 all positions, so it's a little bit confusing. So the Omni 360 does not need an infant insert, but the 360 all positions does, if that makes sense. So there's 2 carriers that we have that have 360 in the name. One of them does, one of them doesn't. The Omni is the one that does not require the infant insert. So sorry, I'm going back to this. So we're going to put this on what feels upside down. And the nice thing about this is that you can actually wear it as high as you want. And in fact, with a newborn, you're going to wear it pretty high. So we have lots of different colors I think we have like 5 or 6 different colors of wraps. We have about 6 different colors in Brace. There's a good dozen or so of the Omni in the mesh and in the canvas. There's different colors. We have a Harry Potter print if Harry Potter is your thing. And we've done other collaborations in the past as well. So I rolled the waistband twice. And by doing that, I'm going to put this up for a second. I can adjust this, the panel to be the size of baby's butt. So baby's a little bit bigger, baby's a little bit smaller, and that's okay. It's meant to be adjustable to suit your baby's size. So I'm going to tighten this. And again, if you don't know exactly where you need the waistband to be, just like with the other carriers, hold baby. And I'll say, okay, I want baby's butt to be about here. So I'm going to put the top of my waistband about there. And you may need to practice a little bit, but it gives you a good idea of where you want baby situated on your body. So with that being said, I'm going to roll this up baby's back to the nape of the neck. And then you can put both straps over. I like to do one at a time. I think it makes it easier for me. My pro tip here is that before you cross it across your back, you're going to pull it down. And the reason we're pulling it down is that if I pull it straight across, it's going to cross up here on my neck, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on my upper back and my lower neck. but by pulling it down, I'm actually bringing that cross lower on my body. So it just makes it more comfortable for me as the wearer. And here, there you go, little bat wing. So if you're used to our other carriers that we have the buckles on the front, this one, the buckle is actually on like a little wing on the inside of the carrier. So if you get to the front and you don't know where it is, it's probably like mine was, it was just tucked behind baby. So then I'm going to put the other one over and then bring it down and around. Find that little tab. There's that. And then we're going to spread these on our shoulders. So this is really nice. It's comfy. It's got, like, you can see it's got like a little bit of stretch. It's a little bit thicker than our wraps. And then what I'm going to do, just like I do in every other carrier, is I'm going to put my hands in at the top of baby's butt. I'm going to rotate and scoop their hips so we get that nice deep and more froggy position. And I'm going to push up on baby's feet as well. So this is a great option for those newborn snuggles if you like the idea of a wrap but don't want to wrap. And this will get you through the first year or so of wearing. And at that point, you can go to our 360 or our original even, which I like the original a lot, but I don't like the infinite inserts. So I recommend the Omni a lot. I think it's really user-friendly, but I like these as the newborn options. And it's pretty affordable for you know, being a carrier that you're going to upgrade from eventually. Let's see here. I'm trying to see what else. I have a question. You can do this with any of the Ergobaby. Can you tell me what you mean by any of this? I just want to make sure I'm answering your question. And yeah, in the Embrace, all of our carriers you can breastfeed in. I don't recommend feeding and breastfeeding in a Stretchy Wrap. I find that it's not quite as supportive as I would like, but if that's something that you are looking for, you can find a Babywearing educator that can help you do that. But to breastfeed, what I would do is I would loosen both a little bit, but loosen the side that I was wanting to breastfeed on. And then at that point, I can lower baby. And I'm a mom that usually wore V-neck shirts, and I would just pop myself out. But you're definitely going to have to lower the waistband a little bit as well. So it's going to take some adjusting. No, so the folding of the bottom of the carrier is only for the Embrace. That was your question. So all the other carriers, they're going to be worn the way they're meant to be worn, but because this is designed as an apron style, and the waistband is really thin, and it's meant to be folded for that newborn setting. And then, but yeah, you can definitely lower and put baby there, but then when you're done breastfeeding, you're going to want to bring baby back to center, bring your waist back up, adjust the waist, and go back and pull the slack around. Pull the slack around, because we always want baby when we're done breastfeeding to be close enough to kiss, and we want to be able to be hands-free. Yep, so I do actually a Babywearing 101 every Saturday in there, and I will drop the group link here. Let me grab it for you. It is, let's see. And for people who want to breastfeed in the carriers too, my as a mom of 3 tip is that make sure you are feeling confident in your carrier first and feeling confident in your breastfeeding journey. So if you're trying to do 2 things and you're learning and you try to add them together, it might feel frustrating. And we don't want that to happen. So let's make sure you feel confident in breastfeeding, confident in baby wearing, and then you add them together, because you have to learn to walk before you can run. And that is just from my own experience, as even as a 3rd-time mom, I struggled with breastfeeding, and took me several months of really feeling comfortable breastfeeding before I added that to my baby wearing journey. It just, it's something that I think we want to do it all, and that's great. But just give yourself some grace and give yourself time to really build that breastfeeding relationship before you try to add it to the baby wearing dynamic. The mesh is really great for Texas heat. I think this is going to be the link for the group for you. Let's see. If that link does not work, just search on Facebook for Ergobaby Love Carries On and it should pop up. But I think I typed it correct. My copy and paste is being tricky right now. So, and I don't want to risk getting out of the video. So then to take the carrier off, we're going to unclip. Right, exactly, Kelsey. We don't want to feel overwhelmed. I think as new parents, whether you're a first-time parent or a fifth-time parent, we all feel a little bit overwhelmed. And I want to remind you to give yourself some grace and that, nobody is perfect or knows everything. We're all just kind of winging it. That's what I think. And some of us wing it better than others. So there you go. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing the link. I typed Ergobaby Love before the Love Carries On. So then definitely request the group. We do Babywearing 101s every Saturday in there. And I give feedback and you can just post pictures and, just have a Babywearing success, share it with us. We want to see it. So that one other thing I want to talk about quickly is our infant insert, because I'm sure that's something you hear, whether it's from Ergo or other brands. And then if you have any other questions for me, let me know. So let me grab the infant insert. So this is our infant insert. This is needed for the 360 all positions, and it's needed for the original carrier. So our older inserts are a little bit bulkier than this, but as long as it's the baby taco and the pillow, you're good. This is the Easy Snug. This is the latest edition. And the nice thing about the Easy Snug is that you can put it in the carrier and leave it there. You don't have to take it on and off every time. So I have another, so that we have bundles on the website where the insert can come with it. But if you have like the original can be bought without the insert, and same as the 360. So if you're looking for it together, we do have different bundles that are available. So I'm putting the carrier on backwards just so you can see what I'm doing. There's a clip here. And a clip here. And then we're going to take this one around this strap. And yes, you can buy the insert just by itself too. Also, if you have an insert and you lose the pillow, we do have a complimentary service to replace your pillow. You just email our customer care team. And that's worth pointing out because I've had several moms reach out to me recently. They had washed it and the pillow just disappeared like a sock. So we will replace the pillow for you if you misplace it. So the full insert will be worn. I'm going to wear it like this so you can see how baby's going to sit in that. But you're going to need the full insert to support baby's head and core for the first like 3-ish months, depending on baby size. And then at about 3 months, you can pull out just the pillow and use just the pillow in the carrier so baby can be seated so they're not overspread. And what we mean by that is we want baby to be able to be seated in the carrier without their legs being like splayed out. We want them to be supported at the knee so they have free range of motion to kick when they're seated in this part of the carrier. And as you can see, this baby their legs would be like splayed out. So ideally we would want them to be seated where they can kick freely from the carrier. So they would be sitting. It's hard to show with a doll because they don't have the flexibility, but it's essentially like a baby taco that's going to keep your baby nice and fat. And their legs are only spread the width of that seat. They don't have to be spread out to the outside of the carrier. So then that way they are, let me put this, buckle this. I am not sure how long the coupon code is good for. I believe it's due through the entire weekend. And if I am wrong, I will come back and I'll let you know. But I will double check on that. So to get this on, I'm going to buckle. And I always pull it through that safety elastic because if it gets undone for whatever reason or I didn't buckle it, it's going to stop my carrier from coming off. So let me grab that. So this is in the carrier. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put up one side of my carrier. I'm gonna adjust that strap so it's pretty snug. And then I can take baby and bring them, I'll put my hand through and guide their foot into where I want them to be. And I find I'm short torsoed, so I find for me, when I use an infant insert, I generally have to put the waistband a little bit lower. So that way I have room in the bottom part of the panel here for the pillow port portion of it to fit in. And that's okay. And let's see, I'm gonna clip. But you can see that baby's neck and head are supported here. Their feet would be, they can be tucked up in, they can be against your body in the carrier, just as long as they're not seated on their feet. We want them to be in a nice seated position, which is what the baby taco part is doing, is holding them in that nice position there like that. And then we would adjust that. There we go. And that would be, the infant insert goes with the original and with the 360 all positions. I'm gonna do that, unclip, and take baby out. And then we'll take this off. So one more thing I wanted to show you is that how to store your carriers. So you can definitely just throw them on the seat of your car or wherever you want to put it. But a really nice way to keep them nice and stored is to fold the straps like this. And then we're going to roll the carrier. And this makes it a little bit easier if you do it on a flat surface. But for the sake of it, I'll show it. I'm going to tighten that side down and clip. So I'm just clipping the waistband around the carrier, and that keeps all my buckles and everything in place so they don't accidentally get stepped on or slammed in a car door or broken. And so that's my little pro tip for storing. And all of our carriers can be rolled like this as well. Let's see what else. Do I have any other questions that I might have missed here? I have a few more minutes before we jump off, so I want to make sure if there's anything I might have missed in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer for you really quick. Oh, worth noting, if you do the Cool Air mesh versus the canvas on the Omni, in order to forward face on the canvas is we have two buttons, and they're kind of hidden on the panel of the carrier, so you might not notice them. The Omni is going to be always on black unless you're facing out. And when you face on out, it's going to be on the gray buttons that are a little bit lower and on the inside. And if you need to remember that, you can say black goes on their back and gray is to face away. But the difference with the Cool Air mesh is that it does not have buttons. It has sliders. So let me tighten this for a second so it doesn't slide all over the place. All right, so the Cool Air mesh, it's gonna come with the sliders up on the outside on the higher part, and then to face baby out, you're just gonna push them in. So, which is, I think, is a really cool feature. And I think it makes it a little bit easier to remember is the sliders because they're out here, but it's really gonna come down to personal preference. I actually prefer canvas over mesh. It's just my personal thing, but I think they're both great options. But if you are looking at the buttons and then you get the mesh, just so you're not confused, the sliders. And they will always be on the outside settings for facing in. So it will be like this for facing in on you, facing on your back, and in a hip carry. But then to face out, you will slide them like that. So there's that. But I know a lot of people like the sliders, so it's a feature I like to point out. And then same thing here, roll it up. And then buckle. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I think Angela will be in the booth at some point during this weekend, and she can answer all your questions. How to do the hip carry? Yeah, I can show that real quick. So all of our carriers do a hip carry except for the embrace, but all of our structured carriers do that. And thank you. I'm gonna clip this through. to do the hip carry, you're gonna actually unbuckle the straps. And then we're gonna loosen the straps too. I want to have, so whatever, you can wear it on either side. I'm right-handed, but I prefer it on my right side, but you could wear it either way, is whatever side you're going to wear it on, you are going to put the strap over your opposite shoulder. So I'm going to bring this around and I'm going to clip this. All right, so if you have a bigger baby, I often find that I like to do just this one first and then put the bigger baby in. With a smaller baby, you can do both. So this one's over the shoulder. That means this one goes under. And if you are wanting to do a hip carry after the fact, go to our website. Under the tab that the shop is on, there's also an instruction tab underneath that. And we have videos on how to do the hip carry as well. So that way, after the fact, you can always go and watch another video. So I'm going to make sure this is loose so I can get baby in. I'm going to put baby in high burping position, bring my hand up through the bottom so I can help guide their feet. And see, I have this on the wrong setting. See? There we go. And there's that. And then I like to cap my shoulder. If it kind of limits your mobility, so you may have to move it if you need to reach something up high. But then I'm going to grab this one and bring it around to the front. And you can have it be like in the front here, so it's just off center. I prefer when I'm doing a hip carry to be more on my hip, but just off center on the front is totally fine too. Just make sure baby's butt is in it, their feet are adjusted. And so that is the hip carry. All of our carriers do that. That would be the original Embrace, or sorry, not Embrace, original, Omni 360, 360 all positions, and Adapt. All do the hip carry as well. So I hope that answers your question. And we'll take this off. Then we would just unclip, unclip, and we can just take it off. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. I hope you guys have a great Saturday.